Balls are back.
Yeah, they had us the first half, I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, could be Wayne!
I think I got my swagger back. Oh!
I love it, baby! Money!
Them orange britches. Something about them orange britches.
Tennessee wins! Out by Tennessee to one Jennings!
We just won a basketball game, and we're very happy right now.
You found a way, okay? All right, now, what I tell you, okay? All right, this decade is going to be the decade of the Vols. You got it?
Reddit did to do and welcome into More Important Issues. It is Sunday, July 12th. Hope everyone is doing well. It is good to be back like the Vols. The Vols are back. It's the decade, baby. I'm ready.
Oh,
I hope
into
I
it.
hope the decade gets started though. That's the thing.
yeah. That's the big question. When's it actually going to start?
Yeah, there's been quite a bit of news come out even today. I mean, this week, but even today that it's looking kind of less likely and less likely. But here's the thing: we can only control what we can control. So we're going to do this show like it's gonna happen.
Yeah, got to prepare. Prepare
right.
for the best.
That's right. Guys, we do appreciate you all being on it. It's another good show for you all. We're going to preview the running back position today, continue our position preview. If you've missed some of them, don't worry. They're on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You can find those, and you can go check them out anytime. We're also going to talk about where college football may be. The Big Ten announced this week that it's going to be conference only for them. I'm kind of expecting some conferences to follow suit. Maybe not immediately, but
Yeah.
we'll see. We'll talk all about that, though. We've got some basketball news as the Vols met with a five-star guard this week virtually and see where they're kind of standing with him and what his future may hold at Tennessee. We've also some recruiting news in general. Baseball also picked up a commit.
Yeah.
Carol Lawson got the head coaching job at Duke this week. Pat Summit tree keeps on growing. Have you checked it out? Have you looked at her head coaching or her coaching tree?
I know there's 3 former players, not counting Kelly Harper.
Dude, there's like 45 former players, coaches, graduate assistants. Like, I mean, I went and just looked just before the show hopped on because I was like, I'm curious who else. I mean, I was like, oh, I guess I'll just have to read it on the show because it is an insane list.
Okay, so I guess I just saw the head coach.
There might be more than 3. I think there's maybe at the Division I level,
yeah,
but there's
that's right.
there's a lot of head coaches at least. And then we're going to talk about where sports stand as they return. We've got soccer back, UFC and golf have been back, basketball this next week, NBA is returning, baseball. When's baseball start?
July 23rd.
Okay, so same week as
there's a doubleheader, and then the rest of it gets started July 24th.
Gotcha. So same week as basketball. So we'll talk all about that, and then we've of course got some segments for you all. Before we jump into the show, like, share, retweet, follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all that good stuff, as well as Volunteer Roadshow. And then Landon's got some people to tell you all about that make this show possible.
Yeah, so go check out like Caleb said, Volunteer Roadshow. Also go on there, create an account. It gets you access to all our free content, shows, articles, anything like that. It's a little chat room and, different stuff that comes with that. So go do that. That also puts you in a drawing for any drawings that we give away on the show. So we don't have any tonight, but we, as football season gets closer, we will have even bigger ones. And you can check out our sponsors. Those are the giveaways we'll probably give out. Will be Hound Dogs and Tennessee Tap House, so go check them out. Go get you some Balls gear, go get you some brews. Let's get after it.
Let's do it. Also, if you've got any questions, if you didn't ask them before the show, all good. You can still do it. Drop them in the chat. I'm on Twitter and YouTube. Landon's on Facebook. If we don't get to them immediately, we will write them down and we will get to them eventually. So don't be discouraged if we don't answer them right away. That just means you got to stick with us, listen to us a little bit longer, and we'll definitely get to them. We've already got some in the YouTube. What's up, Aaron? I'm ready for another show. I'm excited. I am rocking the Tommy Bahama.
I like that.
It's warm. Felt the need to do it. So going with the Tommy Bahama today. Let's get into running back position, man. This is a great position group. This should probably be your best and most consistent position on the field this year.
Oh yeah, 100%. This is probably your most talented group, and I think it's where your playmakers are going to be. You have one of the best offensive lines in the country, so this group should be ready to run wild with Eric Gray and Ty Chandler kind of being that two-headed monster. They do take a blow in Tim Jordan not being on the roster, but that just gives more opportunity for somebody else to be that third back. Because, in the SEC, you're going to need 2 or 3 backs to kind of have the carries. You're going to have one guy get the bulk of the carries, and I think that's going to be Eric Gray. But after that, you're going to have a Ty Chandler probably going to get more than enough touches. And then you have a third guy who –
to be determined.
It needs to be a bigger guy because Ty Chandler and Eric Gray are, very similar in body type. So you want a bigger guy, that short yardage guy, and, maybe a guy that they use on the goal line. I know they used Quavaris Krause last year, but with him, getting a bigger role on defense, potentially being a starter, I think, you got to look at one of those guys to take that role.
Yeah, and I said this should be one of your better and most consistent positions, and I'm not and what I'm about to follow up with that isn't going to take away from it. It does get a little. You talked about Tim Jordan leaving the team. That does make the position a little bit more thin, especially when you consider experience. Carlin Fields and me, I think, is probably the next most experienced back behind Eric Gray and Ty Chandler. He didn't touch the ball at all last year, running back. I think he spent most, if not all, of the year.
He was hurt.
Well, and he didn't start the year at DB, right?
That was 2018.
It was 18 that he played 18 or played DB. But that's your most experienced back after those two guys. There's a lot of questions here. Lenneth Whitehead will probably go into fall camp, freshman at running back, but I think they want to move him to safety. That's everybody's assumption. Linebacker, sorry. That's everybody's assumption. That's where they want to move him. And then you have T. Hodge, another freshman that could make it. You talked about a bigger back. That's probably one guy you're going to consider because, like you mentioned, Crouch is probably a starting linebacker this year. Right. So he's not going to be able to get a ton of touches at running back, and they're probably going to want to keep him and save him anyways for those goal line packages. You don't want to overuse that package. That's not something you want to overuse. Now the good thing is Eric Gray and Ty Chandler both run downhill really well. Now they're not big backs. I don't have their exact measurements. But they're not big backs.
Yeah, Eric Gray is 5'10", 195, and Ty Chandler is 5'11", 201.
Yeah, so not
very similar.
Yeah. I mean, they run very similar. They have they do complement each other well in that Eric Gray's a little bit faster out in space. Ty Chandler, for the most part, Eric Gray had several good runs, inside the tackle box, but it seemed like Ty Chandler does a little bit better, depending on the situation. Yeah. But they complement each other well. They both finished with Ty Chandler finished with almost 700 yards. Eric Gray almost 600 last year. Eric Gray, though, the bulk of that in 1 or 2 games. So
yeah, I mean,
3 games, I guess.
Half of it was against Vanderbilt. He had 246 yards,
right.
And then he had 86 against Indiana. Yeah, I just think there's a lot of talent within this group, and I think Tennessee's really excited about T. Hodge and Lenneth Whitehead. Even if Whitehead doesn't end up at running back, I think they coveted him. During the recruiting cycle.
I think with the exit of Tim Jordan, before Tim Jordan left, I would have put a lot of money on him being a linebacker. Now I'm kind of thinking there's a better chance of him being a running back. I don't know exactly what T. Hodge brings. He is a really big kid. I don't know where his speed is at though. I'm unsure.
Yeah.
Now he did play the highest level of high school Tennessee football in the state of Tennessee, but I don't know what that really means for.
Right.
It's such a shift.
Yeah, it's kind of up to him. I mean, there's a lot of kids like Eric Gray was like, he went to, like a very small school in Memphis, very small private school. So you just don't know really what you're going to get with, and that's like all, whatever classification. And if you're like at St. Francis, like Aaron Willis, Katron Evans, Dominic Bailey, you kind of know what you're getting with some of those guys because they've practiced and played with that type of talent for so long.
Right.
But with these guys, it's just a matter of time. You're going to see what you really get, and that's where the evaluations come in. That's why you make the big bucks.
Oh, absolutely. I am excited for a guy like T. Hodge. Hopefully you see him this year. I mean, you got to love his size.
Oh, yeah.
You got to love his size. And then another thing I'm really curious about the running back position is how effective can they be in the passing game? There were times they were effective. They did have some periods that they were a threat in the passing game, but it wasn't consistent all season. So I'd like to see that pick up. It can expand your offense so much. It can open up so much, not just for you in the run game, but also your receivers too. When safeties are having to account for you, linebackers are having to account for you, it makes it much more difficult to defend just the receivers when it's a passing down. So that's one thing I'd like to see get better this year. Not that it was terrible last year, but it wasn't probably where it should have been.
Yeah, and it just gives your quarterback an extra boost of confidence knowing that they have somebody in the backfield that's able to catch a check down.
It's kind of similar to tight end position. You talk about that safety valve. A running back can be that too. So it benefits your quarterback a ton when you have a guy like that.
And you saw that firsthand against Indiana. You saw those 2 check down passes to Eric Gray, who went, I think it was, those 2 passes were like 34 yards and kind of put us in range to score.
Right.
And, that just, like I said, JG needs all the confidence he can get. And so with guys like Ty Chandler and Eric Gray, and anybody, if, Jabari Small is an incoming freshman who's kind of that all-purpose back type as well. So if he can come in and be utilized in the passing game, I've seen some stuff where he's played in the slot a lot. So maybe, he could be some help too.
Right.
I don't think anybody on like scholarship players, I guess. I don't see anybody in here that won't be given a chance to at least play.
Yeah, no, and it does help that. And the thing about this Tennessee coaching staff is they're gonna if you have a good, I assume, practice, because it seems like they would come into a game going to a different guy. It wasn't are you rolling in the game. Every week it seemed like whoever the hot hand was in practice, or maybe even finish out the previous game hot, we're going to ride that hot hand. So I don't think it's necessarily about, and that's why I do lean towards Eric Gray being the number 1 back, but at the same time, if Ty Chandler has a better fall camp, it doesn't even have to be a phenomenal fall camp, but just a better fall camp than Eric Gray, he's the number 1 back the first day, I think, with the way this coaching staff is.
And that's why you can't be discouraged as a running back, because, you have that. With Butch Jones, though, it was any time that you made a mistake, you're out and you're not going to get back in.
Yeah.
And then if you did a 50-yard run, you're coming out. Like, there was a lot of annoying stuff with that I just don't even really want to get into.
And I mean, even Tennessee kind of did that with, I don't know if it was necessarily that rotation. Our receiver rotation at the beginning of the year in 2019 was very poor. They brought T. Martin down from the booth, and it got a lot better. You had somebody there who had a sense of who was responsible for receivers, and then also had a sense for what was going on in the game.
Yep.
I mean, there were passing third downs that we didn't have. I mean, probably any third downs. And when you don't have your 2 leading receivers on the field, you're wasting a play, and that happened a lot early on. I was glad to see that get fixed. But yeah, I think you definitely need to ride the hot hand. And that's a good thing about being a back in the system. If you play good, you're going to get an opportunity to play, and if you build on that, you're going to get an opportunity to continue building on that success. It's not, all right, go to the number 1 guy. It's go to whoever's playing well.
Yep, going to be plenty of opportunities. And you look at the I know we're about to talk about the non-conference and conference schedules, but, you play some of those cupcake games to get more people some looks and see them in real game atmosphere. So, I mean, a guy like Jabari Small, a guy like Lenneth Whitehead, T. Hodge can come in there. If they come in there and produce, they're going to get a chance against bigger opponents, SEC opponents.
Right. Absolutely. Aaron Ross said T. Hodge is fast. He said he's a Maryville guy. He says not as fast as Gray. I don't doubt that he's fast. He got offered by Tennessee, and not a Butch Jones Tennessee. So I don't doubt that he's fast. And it does change for anybody. We talked about that just a second ago. No matter where you play in high school, there's going to be a game speed adjustment period, no matter how fast you are. And I guess it's just to see how he adjusts. BVD said he's probably going to be a smashback. I agree. I think he's going to probably be used in downs where you need to get yards. The good thing is, when we're talking about getting yards, Eric Gray does a good job after contact. So you're not desperately seeking that big back.
I mean, he's just got that. Eric Gray just got that extra wiggle that no one else in this roster has.
Yeah.
I mean, even Tim Jordan wasn't a big time back. I mean, I don't even know
I think
what
he was like
listed.
just 5-10 pounds heavier than those guys before quarantine.
Right. Yeah, he just ran different.
Well-
He's 5'11". Yeah, before quarantine.
What was he after quarantine?
I don't know.
Well, what was his weight before? Do you have it? pulled up?
5'11", 203.
Okay,
so
yeah.
he was about the same as Ty Chandler.
Yeah. I bet he was every bit of 225 in that
he-
picture.
Maybe his neck is thicker. I don't know. His neck looked huge.
Yeah, no, definitely. He's a big dude. He's a big dude. I'm curious to see Carlin Fields and me, I guess the first year Pruitt was here, 2018. I think he got several looks to. I think he got the ball handed off to. No, that was so I guess 2017.
2017,
so
yeah.
Butch's last year. I think he had 50-something carries.
He had 31 carries for 215 yards and 2 touchdowns.
So, I mean, he seems to. I don't know if what opponents those were against, but
Right. I mean, he's a track guy. He's only 5'11", 180, so he's probably the smallest guy that could get playing time, but I mean, you can't coach speed.
no. And I don't know whose decision it was to keep moving him around. But if the good news is, so I think a lot of people look at that as a negative, and I think it depends. But I think the good news of that is if it's the coaching staff's decision to move him around, it could mean two things. One, that it's just that those positions are thin, which is probably one of the factors in 2018. But another factor is they may be looking and going, we just have good running backs in front of him. He's talented. He's athletic enough. We need to get him on. We need to find a way to get him on the field.
Yep.
And that could be a positive for Carlin Fields and me, is that they wanted him to just be on the field, and we're trying to find a space to utilize the talent. They don't want to waste a scholarship spot. No college coach wants to waste a scholarship spot.
Right.
So that is the good news, is maybe that's the kind of silver lining of moving positions. The coaches want to see you on the field.
Yeah, and he's got experience. I mean, that's something you can't coach either. Just, real game experience. So, I mean, he probably has a leg up on some of those freshmen. But the bad thing is with him, Ty Chandler and Eric Gray are very similar in running styles.
And Eric Gray just finished the year so hot. I got to imagine he...
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely the most talented back in this group, and you saw he was just a freshman and already the premier back. So I expect more of a
and maybe
workload. What?
Sorry, go ahead.
More of a workload from him. And dude, I just think with this offensive line, and questions. You have questions at quarterback, but you have a lot of questions at receiver too. I just think this is going to be the focal point of the offense.
I've got to think so. Yeah, I've got to think so. So what I was going to say too is Eric Gray may have gotten faster this offseason.
Hopefully.
So,
I mean,
what was he running? 24 miles an hour?
Yeah, something insane.
So what do you think? Because I know we'll get closer to the season and we'll predict. It's kind of stat leaders, so I don't want to. I want to ask specific guys. What do you think What do you think Tennessee's rushing yards finish at between the 2-3 guys?
I think Eric Gray gets to 1,000 yards. That's a bold prediction. I think anywhere from 1,700 yards.
You don't think they eclipse 2,000?
I don't know.
I
mean, with this offensive line, I think it's possible, but I just think I don't know.
So I think, to the point you made earlier, that you have so many questions at receiver, and those may get answered early on, and they may be able to kind of not entirely ride out the running game like they probably are thinking they may have to right now. But I think they could get to 2,000 because you're considering the two backs they have, and then the fact that the offensive line's good, plus you're probably going to be relying on those running backs a lot. I think I could see this group as a whole, probably maybe not between those two backs, getting to 2,000.
Yeah, I mean, I think 1,800 yards would be a safe bet, and they could possibly get to 2,000. I think that'd be great. But if you do have question marks at receiver,
oh yeah, definitely allows them to load the box.
Yeah,
that's the dangerous part.
Yeah, that's where I'm like, I don't know. But then again, if you have good receivers, then you throw it more. I don't know. Yeah. It's just, I just think with this offensive line, I think that's going to be their strength is running the football, and just got to capitalize on the holes,
right?
Things like that. So,
and that's one thing you kind of hope with a fifth-year senior at quarterback too, is because a lot of the running game is being able to identify And it's not, unfortunately, as easy as it looks, being able to go away from the strong side. It's not that simple.
Right.
But being able to identify the weak spots in the defense and running to that side or running into that gap. And hopefully, you hope with a fifth-year senior quarterback we've talked about, this should kind of be a year where he's more comfortable with is it his first time with a coordinator?
Yeah,
back-to-back coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
You hope that allows him to get more comfortable and maybe make those reads, because that's crucial in having an effective running game, as a quarterback being able to identify the defense.
Yeah. I mean, I never played running back, but I'd like to think, like, with 4 or 5 stars and a 4-star 6-year senior, that, I don't think you can have a better friend than a talented offensive line like that.
No, I wouldn't think so. So in 2017 with John Kelly, I think that's the last time Tennessee eclipsed 2,000 yards in the run game.
What year was that?
2017.
Okay.
And that, I mean, you're relying a lot on your run game. That's why I went back to that.
Oh, wow. That's kind of surprising. Because who was it? It was
John Kelly and
Carlin Fields and me was part of that.
was Tim Jordan?
Ty Chandler.
Ty Chandler? Is he junior this year? Dang.
No,
I guess he
senior.
is. He's a senior? Dang.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then 18,
he'll be a junior. That's
18, you only got to 1,800 yards. So, yeah, I mean, I think 2,000 yards with this group, with the expectations coming in, the talent you have, I don't think 2,000 yards is definitely out of the question. I'm with you. 1,800 is probably your safe bet. That I think they get to 1,800 yards. I don't know where they finished. I'll look.
Yeah, this will be his senior year.
Okay, that's crazy. I don't feel like he's been on
He
campus.
was in the same class as Trey Smith. So
that's crazy. I just don't feel like he's been on campus that long.
Yeah, it's wild.
That's wild. 2016, 3,000 rushing yards. Dang. That's that was total gain though too. So that's not against the lost yards. So take with that what you will.
Maybe if Jimmy Holiday plays some Wildcat quarterback, we'll get to 2,000.
Now you're adding another threat in there.
Yeah.
There you go. I kind of like that. We had a question. Well, we had questions about running back too before we get into the conference schedules.
Yeah, I have that. So Jordan Craze says, which freshman running back do you see getting the most PT carries this year? I think for me, it's got to be T. Hodge.
Yeah, just because you don't know where Lenneth Whitehead's even going to be right now,
Right.
I think the safe bet's got to be T. Hodge.
Yep. And from, I just know, like, hearing, is it Derek Hunt?
Derek Hunt's at Maryville.
Yeah. I heard him, like, an interview with him talking about T. Hodge's work ethic. And I just think that's going to fit in perfectly with a Jim Chaney offense.
Yeah.
If you got the talent, Jim Chaney's going to get it out of you.
Right. I don't disagree with that. Now, he's got to utilize it. I think T. Hodge is going to be a very, I hope he has the speed, but it seems like he's going to be a very kind of specific back. And the thing, too, about any kind of freshman back when you're talking about two very experienced guys in front of them, how effective can they be in the limited playing time they get? Because he may have a couple good plays this year. How many good games does he have? Because he's not going to get. How often is he even going to get back-to-back touches?
Yeah, probably not a lot. I mean,
maybe
Eric
a
Gray didn't
handful of
have
times.
a ton of games
Right.
that he just dominated in until the end of the season.
Right,
I mean,
where he started getting back-to-back touches.
Yeah, it was, the first couple of games he, had a pretty decent time, and then it just hit a wall. And I think he talked about that in the slice. He didn't find his groove until, like, Missouri.
Right.
And then he blew up against Vanderbilt and had a great game against Indiana. But yeah, it's a lot for a freshman to, I think, just get used to the SEC schedule. Because in high school you're playing 10 games minimum,
Right.
and it's just not that physical
Right.
as SEC football. I mean, this would be a minor league to the NFL. Like it would be AAA to the NFL.
Right.
Because this is the next step, or the step before you get to the NFL. This is the highest level of football you can get without getting paid for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do like. I mean, T. Hodge is probably going to be the guy. I agree. That's going to be the freshman contributor. I just don't know how much.
Yeah.
And if there weren't two, if it was just Ty Chandler or just Eric Gray, I'd say he has a good shot. Whoever that freshman back is, I still probably lean T. Hodge, but I might give him a better chance. I don't know how many back-to-back touches he even gets this year, so I just don't know how effective. Will he have some good plays? I'm sure. I'm confident in that.
Yeah.
I just don't know how many good games, I just don't know how often, if he'll get a chance to really be comfortable in the backfield. So.
And it's also like, do they see all three of these guys as redshirt candidates? Well, you only see them in 4 games.
Right.
And maybe not even that.
Right.
So,
Right.
I don't know. I think it's probably T. Hodge for me, just because. I mean, pretty much, I just don't see, with the question marks and Lenneth Whitehead being a linebacker, running back, and then Jabari Small is kind of the exact same back as Eric Gray and Ty Chandler. I just don't see how it's got to be T. Hodge.
Right. Any more questions about running back?
That's all I got.
Awesome. We had a question about the real Stevie J asked, so has the SEC announced a conference-only schedule yet? No, they have not. They are meeting tomorrow. They have, I can't remember who tweeted it. The exact words were, is it Sankey? Greg Sankey?
Yeah.
Summoned all the
Oh,
athletic directors. I was like, did he blow a bugle?
They're all going to go bend the knee.
Yeah. So that was a good tweet. But no, they're going to Birmingham tomorrow, which I don't know why they couldn't just do it in a Zoom meeting. I guess social distancing's out the window now, I guess. Yeah. I don't know.
Bring your mask.
Yeah. So they're going to Birmingham tomorrow. They'll have a meeting, and I'm sure that'll be discussed. I don't know what'll be announced because no other conference has followed suit. If the Big Ten had announced on Wednesday or Thursday, I can't remember, Thursday, I guess, because we didn't talk about it on the last show. If the Big Ten had announced on Thursday and then other conferences had followed on Friday, I'd probably give you a chance of the SEC announcing that tomorrow or this week. I don't think there'll be a decision made. I doubt it. I don't think you need to make a decision right now. And then also apparently the what's his name? Charlotte head coach. We talked about him a couple weeks ago. Matt Healy. He said that on a radio show this morning that Tennessee talked to Charlotte and they are moving forward with the plans to play the opener. So as of today, it looks like they're going to be playing non-conference games. So that decision I don't think will be made this week. I'm sure they're talking contingency plans. I'm sure they're talking what happens. Not just
Will Healy,
not Matt Healy. I'm sure they're not just talking about. They're talking about if other Power Fives cancel on them, because there were some Big Ten games scheduled. There were Pac-12 also announced. That's right, Pac-12 announced. So there has been one Power Five follow. I forgot about them, and then
that's easy to forget.
Right, and then they'll and I'm sure they're also talking about if they'll maintain their weaker games, their non-Power 5 games, or FCS games, whatever they are. I'm sure all that will be discussed. It doesn't look good for college football. I don't know why. This is the thing I don't understand. And I get you're wanting to limit the spread and maybe saying, all right, playing meaningless games help limit the spread. We'll play the games we have to helps. But I don't understand the decision right now to go, all right, we're going to play conference games but not non-conference games.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't get it.
If it's just because of regional base, I mean, that doesn't make sense because the ACC goes from Miami, Florida to freaking New York.
Yeah.
And then they want to add in Notre Dame, which is in Indiana. What's the difference?
Well, ACC is the one canceling. It's Big Ten.
Well, yeah, I know, but that was their plan going forward. If the ACC would announce, that's what they're planning. They're going to add in Notre Dame.
Well, I think Notre Dame wants to be added in, or wants to be in there.
I heard that they would be because they, in their deal, they have to schedule 5 ACC games.
Gotcha.
Because the rest of their sports are in the
Right.
ACC. That's their deal. So they would include them, which I think is dumb. Make them join a freaking conference.
Yeah, I understand the independent to an extent, but I don't. I feel like they need to be in or out in a conference, because if they have a decent season and are able to stay undefeated, they don't have to play that final game. And that's kind of dumb. That conference game.
I mean, some of the big matchups in the Big Ten, Michigan State was going to play BYU. Ohio State was going to play Oregon. Penn State, Virginia Tech. And Iowa State and Iowa don't even get to play now.
Yeah, that's pretty dumb. And the Big Ten, they kind of, I guess they are all northern. But the Big 12, if they were to cancel, I think a lot of people thought they would follow suit. They're stretched all over the United States.
Yeah.
So the travel thing doesn't really make a lot of sense. I would say nowadays every Power 5 probably charters to games. So it's not like you're going into airports.
Right.
So I don't know. I don't fully understand it. I just don't. I don't understand the decision. Why you're making the decision right now? That's what I don't get.
I don't get, like, it's okay for Tennessee to go play Texas A&M, but it's not okay for us to go play Oklahoma. That makes no sense to me whatsoever.
No, that would be very dumb. I don't think the SEC, they should, if they make a decision tomorrow, I'm going to be pretty mind blown.
Yeah.
Or if they make a decision tomorrow and announce it this week, I'll be pretty mind blown. I just don't understand it entirely. I don't.
So do you think, because my theory is I don't think it's just because they want to keep it regional, because that doesn't make any sense. Are they just wanting to, like, have a handle in how, like, the different guidelines are kind of, they're like, each conference is going to have their own guidelines, and they're able to oversee that.
See, maybe, but I feel like the NCAA just needs to step up and lay out guys. And the thing about it, too, is if I'm a Big Ten school and the team I'm going to play or the team coming to me isn't following my guidelines, I'm just like, peace out, see ya, you broke the rules of our contract. Just like you would have to follow our guidelines any other time.
Right.
So I don't understand it. I'm sure that's part of it. I'm sure it's like they feel like they can have a better hold on it if it's just their conference, but that at the same time it doesn't make a ton of sense to me. I don't get it. This is all just so I think everyone's trying to kind of pull the TSA crap, like doing stuff to make them feel safe, and it's really not doing anything. Like they're going to say, all right, we're not playing non-conference games to put on this like faux appearance of we're trying to protect you, but you're not doing anything.
Right.
You're not doing anything.
Yeah, that's my thing. I mean, these kids like went back to campus. They want to play.
Yeah.
And
are they going to play in the college football playoff if their team makes it? Because that's a non-conference game.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. It just doesn't, like, the non-conference, the conference only thing just does not make sense to me whatsoever.
No, it doesn't. And here's the thing, with everything kind of, and we'll talk about this when we talk about kind of sports returning. With the way the leagues are making decisions, specifically the MLS, if that's the way all of the leagues are making decisions, I don't see football happening. I don't see a chance of football happening.
So what's the MLS doing?
So the MLS sent Nashville and Dallas home. It's unclear why. It's unclear entirely why, but they each had like 5 or 6 players test positive, and the assumption is the MLS is accusing both teams of not following protocol and following the guidelines set forth. So they sent them out of the bubble and sent them home. But if that's going to be how football is, football can't monitor. You can't keep 100 kids in a bubble.
No.
And then especially when you're considering traveling everywhere, you can't keep them in a bubble. So what are the guidelines? And then if you're going to shut it down, so MLS canceled 2 games today, or 1 game today, because each team had a player test positive. And then it came back today that they were false positives, like this afternoon, but they'd already canceled the game. So it's like, I don't understand. People are gonna get it. People are going to test positive for it.
Yeah.
So if you're just going to shut it down, why even try it? I don't understand that.
Yeah. I don't know, because like, if I don't think moving it to spring, I mean, you have no clue if you're going to have a vaccine by then. If that's what you're waiting on.
That makes sense. I do think the possibility of it is getting more realistic and more realistic. I do. And that's different than high school football. I don't think it's possible for high school football to go to the spring. NCAA college football is far different.
Right.
It's far different.
But then you're going to have a lot of kids, that are going to be draft eligible, and they're going to sit out.
Yeah, I mean so JUCO announced today.
Yeah.
That they're moving to spring,
which I think is weird.
I do too, and it could hurt some of your better teams. Some of the better players on those teams are probably not going to be playing.
Right. And some of those you probably don't have a ton of tape on.
Right.
Maybe last year, maybe they came in last year and had to use a red shirt.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be very interesting. I don't know how it's all going to be managed. I don't know. Going back to the conference only thing, I feel like you're addressing like the wrong issue. Are they going to try to create a bubble environment? Are these schools moving to online? Is this something they're gonna try and do? Because a lot of the money you're gonna lose ticket sales. I think everyone's accepted the fact there's not gonna be either everybody or anybody in the stands at all. So are they gonna try to salvage a season and get your TV deals, I don't know.
I don't either. I don't know. I have no clue. I just think like these kids want to play, and if a kid gets it, they don't even know they have it because they're not showing any symptoms.
Right. But I mean that.
So I mean, like, what? I don't know. Like some of it's as like a former athlete. Like if I want to play and I show up to prepare for a season, like I want to play.
Oh, I mean, I'm sure obviously the kids aren't making the decisions.
Right. But I don't know. I just don't see what you're trying to protect them from by doing a conference only schedule.
No, it doesn't make sense.
It's not doing anything.
It doesn't make any sense.
So who would
I don't get it.
If Tennessee went to the 10-game conference schedule, who would you want them to get?
Ole Miss for sure.
Yep.
Away. I want to go to the Grove. Which I guess I can't go this year. So maybe just bring him to Neyland. Just for the hell of it. I'll see. Do I want to win games?
Yeah, you want to win.
I want to win games. Let's go Mississippi State.
Okay.
Let's go back to Mississippi State. It would probably be at LSU,
Mississippi State.
right? No, not LSU.
Yeah, it would be LSU and Ole Miss.
Is LSU the next one?
Would be the 21-22.
Okay.
And that's probably the most realistic thing. But
Or do they play Mississippi State and Auburn? Your previous two. If they do go to a 10-game conference, they play your previous two because then you won't see them for 6 more years. 5 more years.
I wouldn't hate that.
No, it would be a bad deal.
Yeah, I wouldn't hate that.
Because if you played your next two, then you would see them again in the next 2 years.
Because I just think it's. I'm glad we didn't like this didn't happen last year when we get LSU because I did not want any part of Joe Burrow in that team.
No.
But they got to reload a lot.
Oh yeah, no, I mean LSU is not as strong.
And then Kiffin, his first year, I think they're gonna have some issues. I would love to play Arkansas twice.
I mean that I'll gladly accept that.
Yeah.
I'll gladly accept that.
But we'll probably get LSU and then Alabama twice.
They'll throw Alabama.
Yeah.
Alabama's playing 11 games. It's okay.
Yeah.
They'll play Tennessee twice. It didn't. Yeah, that'll probably be what happens.
But did you see where Oklahoma is trying to move up their first game?
So I actually kind of, if you're gonna, because you can't create the bubble environment.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like the idea of just making the season very long and
Just playing over a couple weeks.
Yeah, and you're able to test it because then you're able to get back, travel, test them. Before you leave, before you get in, if a player has it, and of course, again, people are still going to test positive, but it may give you a chance to limit the spread.
Yeah. And then, I mean, if you're playing the next week, then you have that player can basically go through quarantine.
Yeah.
And then come back and play the next game.
Yeah. Depending on what each individual conference's guidelines are, but yeah, essentially, I don't hate the idea of moving it up a week. I don't.
But it's gonna suck if they get a bye week before Tennessee and Tennessee doesn't get that.
No, you play Charlotte. I don't care. It doesn't bother me.
Yeah. I don't want another week for them to prepare. I want them to be bad.
I mean, how much can you really prepare though? Like, at what point is it? Like, I feel like when you're talking about bye weeks during the season, you're more talking about rest. Like, you get that Monday off anyways. You get a long week or a long weekend, so you get that Monday off anyways. I feel like you can only prepare so much.
But then, like, if it's longer, then you get into where it's, even colder.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, you definitely run into that issue.
So I don't know.
And again, that can be maybe you play a conference only schedule and you play every other week.
I'm glad I'm not making decisions.
No, I don't think there's a right. That's one of the issues. I don't know if there's a right decision. And I'm not. I guess that's what I'm not saying the conference only schedule is just incredibly stupid. It just doesn't make a ton of sense because I feel like you're addressing the wrong issue.
Right.
You're not really. What does making that decision do to keep people safer? That's my question.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah. Oh well. Basketball news.
Basketball news. So the first one I want to mention is Josiah Jordan-James met with the media via Zoom, and he mentioned that Victor Bailey Jr. is the best kept secret in college basketball.
Yeah, I don't like that. Last time I heard that, he transferred to Wake Forest.
I don't know.
I mean, I hope he's right. That would be fantastic. But
yeah,
you just and I think there's sometimes players can be just better in practice than they are in games sometimes. And we haven't seen Victor Bailey Jr. yet.
Yeah.
So
a lot of expectations already thrown on a guy we haven't seen yet. But I mean, I think that's huge, and that's what I've heard, and that's kind of why projected him to be the starting point guard next year.
Right.
Nothing against Vescovi. I just think if Victor Bailey Jr. is what everybody else is talking like he is, he's got to be. I mean, best kept secret. I guess it's not a secret anymore. I guess it's out there. But
So what are Oregon like? Is Oregon just they know the secret?
maybe he was a sixth man. I mean, he had some good games. I don't know, but I think a point guard with Rick Barnes, giving him a whole 2 off seasons to prepare for this season. Whew. I'm all for it. And then you had the Vols had a virtual meeting with another 5-star. This guy's in the 2022 class, and that's Jaden Bradley. He's the 5-star point guard, number 2 point guard in the country, number 9 overall player out of IMG Academy.
Yeah. Well, he'll play this season at IMG.
Right, yeah. He's originally from North Carolina, so that's probably going to be difficult to hold off North Carolina and Duke and teams like that. But Tennessee's going toe-to-toe with all the Blue Bloods, and I'm all for it.
Right.
Want to get the best talent. There's a lot of guys. I think, actually, he is teammates with Braden Huntley Hatfield, which is a number 4 overall prospect, and he's been hearing a lot from Tennessee too.
Yeah.
So maybe we can dive into Braden's in Florida and get some of those IMG prospects.
Now, he was a teammate with blanking
Jaden Springer,
but Bradley was not.
Well, and this kid is from Clarksville, Tennessee.
Gotcha. But he was at IMG last year, wasn't
Right.
he?
Yeah, I think so.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, but he's at a Clarksville, so Tennessee ties. Maybe we can keep dipping into IMG and get some of those 5-stars.
I wouldn't hate to make that connection.
Yeah, just collecting some 5-stars. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I don't hate the pipeline out of IMG if you can get that figured out.
Yeah,
I do not hate that. Baseball too. Baseball got to commit.
Yeah, Grant Cherry,
Big arm.
already thrown in the 90s.
Yeah, that's got to. I mean, that makes you think. Does he go to the MLB right out of high school or go to the pros? I guess.
Well, he didn't get drafted, so.
Oh, is he? I thought he was 21. Next.
Oh yeah, 21. You're right. Okay. Yeah, he could possibly that could possibly happen. But he was once committed to Georgia, and Tennessee flipped him. So yeah, you could possibly see him. He's a right-handed pitcher from Vestavia Hills, Alabama. So maybe Jeremy Pruitt went to his old stomping grounds and got another one.
Yeah, that's a big arm. You said he's committed to Georgia, Tennessee. Where was the 20 recruiting class at?
In terms of ranking,
Yeah.
I think he was in the top 10, maybe.
So that's 2 top 10s in a row then, right? For Tony Vitello.
Yeah, something like that.
Gotcha. Starts with recruiting. I mean, Tony Vitello's done a. I mean, when you talk about the short turnaround, done a phenomenal job. But just to turn around in general, phenomenal job of the program.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see where it goes. Would have been it would have been so much fun. This season would have been a lot of fun. I hate that it didn't happen.
Sucks.
Good for Garrett Crochet.
Yeah.
I mean, it would have been nice to see him if he threw well during the season, but I don't think
so.
He's
They had the number 19 class.
in 20.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. But didn't lose anybody in the draft, so that's huge. And I know Vanderbilt loses 3 or 4 every year in the draft.
Right.
So they usually always have the number 1 class, but they lose 3 or 4 guys in the draft every year. So, yeah, I think that's big for Tennessee to keep in the top 25, and you got to keep developing guys. I mean, look at the development that Garrett Crochet had,
Right.
throwing low 80s out of high school, and then coming in and being a first-round draft pick. If that don't be like, as a pitcher, if you're not just like, I gotta go there. It seems like a no-brainer.
Right.
So yeah, really like where this baseball program's going, and hopefully we're able to get Tony Vitello and Chad Zerker on.
Yeah, we'll get that. We'll get that going. Talk some baseball, especially before football season starts. then it gets a little whack.
Yep.
Maybe we'll talk some fall baseball though at some point. We'll see.
Love it.
Anything else for recruiting news or team news or anything like that?
I got some more recruiting news. So, Dejon Warren, the four-star cornerback out of Lackawanna Community College, he's a JUCO guy, released his top 7. Tennessee's in that, along with Georgia, Oklahoma, Penn State, Maryland, Alabama, and Florida State. Maybe we're getting that pipeline going.
Yeah.
Savion Williams, that's where he's from, going up to the home of the office in Scranton. I guess is it in Scranton?
Yeah, Lackawanna, or it's Lackawanna County. I don't know if
it's
it's
in that
Scranton.
county.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, Savion Williams is from there, and then you're putting one of your best recruiters and one of your new coaches and Joe Osavet.
Yep.
Up there recruiting him. So yeah, like our chances with him. Tennessee needs a big time cornerback, like we talked about. I think last week we talked about Bryce Thompson and Alontae Taylor could be gone after this year, so you need to replace those guys if they do decide to leave for the NFL.
I'd say it's likely they're gone this year.
Yep. What's next? Kara Lawson.
Another Lady Vol getting a big head coaching job. This one not at Tennessee, but Kara Lawson gets hired at Duke. She's previously was an assistant at Boston in the NBA.
Yeah.
So that was that's got to be quite the culture shift in what she does. But the thing is, going to Boston was quite the culture shift. I think she had just been really
Been an analyst.
and that was pretty much it.
Yeah.
So quite the shift for her. Not only though did she have Tennessee ties previously, she also serves on the UT Board of Trustees.
Yeah.
So she is still tied to Tennessee, and I guess she'll also be. I guess she'll still be on the UT Board of Trustees. Her term is over in 2024. I don't really know how that works. I gotta imagine it's gonna be I don't know how often they meet. I don't know how often the stuff is. I mean, all those people are busy, I guess, on there, so I don't know what that looks like. But I assume she'll still hold that position.
Yeah, I just think Kara Lawson's a winner. I mean, she led Tennessee to 2 national championship games. She was a number 5 overall draft pick in 2003, Olympic gold medalist, and won the WNBA championship in 2005. Mm-hmm. Girl's just a winner. And then she went and coached, like you said, in Boston for the Celtics, and they're one of the best franchises in sports.
Yeah.
And for her to kind of learn from them, I think this is a great hire for Duke, a team that's not a blue blood in women's basketball,
right,
but they're a team that could potentially get that way in a hurry with given the right coach. I think she took over for the coach that's been there for like 14 years.
Oh, really?
So yeah, I think she'll do a solid job there. I know a lot of people with Tennessee are just like, oh, she didn't have the experience to be a Tennessee coach. I don't know, like Lady Vols are a blue blood in women's basketball. So that's difficult to hire. So even though she played at Tennessee, and I think she'd be a great hire for Duke, I just don't think it lined up perfectly for her to be at Tennessee.
And you had someone like Kelly Harper who had a coaching experience that seems to be doing well.
Yeah, she's recruiting her butt off, and
not a bad first season either.
Yeah, I think to be determined on which one they probably should have chose, but I feel like right now Kelly Harper looked like the right hire.
Yeah, I think you made the right hire for that moment. I don't disagree. But that's awesome for Kara Lawson. Good luck to her. I'm rooting for her. I mean, Duke and Tennessee, unless they meet in a NCAA tournament, won't be foes. So.
Right.
Or at least foes that
Well, we're just doing conference only, so
just conference only. Yeah. No problem. So here's Pat Summitt's coaching tree. I'll just read off the active ones. It's Jody Adams is an assistant at Southern Illinois. Nia Butts is an assistant coach at Kentucky. Tasha Butts is an assistant coach at Georgia Tech. Mickey DeMoss is director of offensive analytics at Vandy. Nikki Fargas is the head coach at LSU. Kyra Elzy is the associate head coach at Kentucky. Tanya Have, head coach at Metropolitan State. Kelly Harper, obviously, at Tennessee. Sylvia Hatchell is the head coach at North Carolina. Lee Henry is the head coach at Georgia State. Angela Lawson is the senior associate director of athletics at Incarnate Word. Kara Lawson was the assistant coach at Boston, now at Duke. Nikki McCray is the head coach at Mississippi State. Matthew Mitchell is the head coach at Kentucky. Shaylin Pillow is the head coach at Florida A&M, and Heidi Vanderver is the head coach at UC San Diego. So that's all. That's just the active coaches.
Okay. So
in our
the
tree.
3 former Lady Vols in the past 4 months have landed D1 coaching jobs, and that was Nikki McCray at Mississippi State, Shaylin Pillow at Florida A&M, and then Kara Lawson, obviously at Duke.
So that's it's not a bad head coaching tree, and then there's a coaching tree, and there's a lot more on this list too that aren't active right now, that either played, coached, or was a graduate assistant under Pat Summitt. So that's quite the list.
Right. Yep. One thing I do want to mention, so Tony Grimes, did you see this?
I didn't.
The 5-star cornerback committed to UNC, was part of that 2021 class, is going to reclassify to the 2020 class.
Oh.
So with high school season, kind of up in the air.
Yeah.
I think it's smart to even have the opportunity to do that.
Yeah, I mean,
Because you didn't know that going into this year that all this is going to happen.
Right.
But for have all of his classes done where he can graduate early and go ahead and re-enroll, as a 5-star, you probably want to play right off the bat. But I think with him, he was supposed to be a senior, so maybe he's a redshirt candidate.
Right.
But gets 4 games of experience,
And you're on the
potentially 4 games,
and you're
of
on
experience.
campus.
Yeah, and a whole year of practicing and getting used to that kind of grind as a college athlete. I think that's. Do we see more people do that? It has to line up. Like you have to be done with school to be able to do that. But I think that's especially as a freshman right now, if you never know if your season's gonna.
Yeah, because I think more people can do it, because I think there's kind of ways to work around having the graduation requirements.
Right.
I don't. And that you do still have to be NCAA eligible. That's probably the bigger question rather than graduating high school. Are you NCAA eligible?
Right.
I don't see a lot of people doing this. I don't think it's just because I think a lot of guys are going to try to play their senior year, and then you also, they're probably going to want that senior year experience too, rather than, because you're going to be moving away from home. You're going to be I think there's a lot of variables, and then how many schools are going to have spots for them?
Yeah, I think that could have been an issue with Tennessee, because I know Tennessee was in his top couple of schools. That could have been an issue because we were way over the scholarship mark. We couldn't.
You weren't going to be able to take them in 2020.
Right.
So that's a question too. And so a lot of guys that already have their school decided, they're not going to reclassify or if they have a good idea, or if their top 3 can't take them, they're not going to go there. So
right.
I think there may be some guys weighing this decision, but I don't think it's going to affect a lot. No,
Yeah.
I don't.
I know we're seeing it more with basketball. But yeah, maybe football gets there as well. I think basketball is kind of different because, you have the one and done deal.
Yeah.
But I think we could potentially see more guys, like you said, at least explore the option of doing that.
Yeah, for sure. So return of sports and COVID and everything going on. We did talk about it briefly when we talked about this conference only schedule. So return to sports. So I guess you've had UFC, but they have that Fight Island or whatever it's called.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Nuts.
And then golf.
I actually watched UFC. It was 251.
You watched it Saturday?
I watched it last night.
Last night. Saturday. Yeah. Okay. Was it good?
Yeah, I watched 2 fights and I fell asleep because I was exhausted. But yeah, it was pretty good. It was some kind of sport.
Yeah. And then NASCAR's been on for a while. Golf's been on they've played their third event since returning. And then Tiger's coming back next week. So the golf's been back for a while, which that sport's a little bit easier to kind of contain the spread.
Right.
They've had a couple people test positive and have kept rolling because it's just part of it. It's going to happen. They've acknowledged that. Soccer in other states or other countries, have been back for a while. EPL in the UK, and then Bundesliga in Germany, and I think Spain, Italy. I'm surprised Italy's even playing, but I think a lot of those countries have returned, if not all of them. And then MLS returned, I guess, this week. They started playing Thursday night, maybe. They're in a bubble though, whereas the teams in the UK and stuff like that, they're not. They're traveling like normal. Now they have no fans and stuff like that, but pretty much everything else is kind of business as usual.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of if they've got it figured out, I'm sure the teams in the States are following their model in some degree and talking to people over there and trying to get a hold on exactly what they're doing. Because as far as I know, there haven't been any like severe outbreaks or anything like that enough to at least shut it down,
right?
Or enough to make a big news article. But I just have a big. Are they gonna shut it down if in the NBA if one person gets it, are they gonna shut? I haven't read the guidelines. Apparently, they sent out a 113-page memo
to each player,
to the teams and players, like
okay.
of the guidelines of like, here's what you have to do.
Good Lord.
Yeah, I'm like, no one read that.
No,
like 113.
Just wasted paper.
Yeah. What are these guidelines? You have workers working in the facility that obviously aren't living in the bubble. People are gonna get it. I just don't know how you maintain it. And a lot of people were worried when the first golfer on the tour tested positive. They thought golf was gonna shut it down, and the commissioner came out and was like, nope. Like, we knew this was gonna happen. They required to quarantine immediately. And that's it. Like, and we'll keep testing people and move on from there. So I kind of hope that's the thing. But I mean, the MLS already canceled a game or postponed a game, I guess, that was supposed to happen tonight. I just don't understand fully, and it makes me think, because I assume the MLS guidelines are going to be similar to the NFL guidelines and similar to the MLB guidelines, and I just don't know how the return of sports looks if this. I don't know if that's if it's like, oh, one person on one team or two people on one team test positive.
Yeah.
What that looks like.
Yeah, I don't know. The NBA is interesting because they are in that bubble and, the ESPN facility.
Yeah, that's where MLS is too.
Okay.
They're in Orlando.
Okay. Gotcha. And some of the players are actually complaining about food and stuff.
Well,
I'm like,
did you see the MLS food?
No.
It looked like Firefest.
Oh, God.
This was the first night. So I'm gonna find it. This is the first night in the MLS bubble.
There's no way.
Maybe not.
That's the exact
Is that
thing
the
from
Firefest?
Firefest.
Okay, so
Yeah. Somebody was just messing. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the exact one.
Well, someone tweeted out not looking.
Because I saw the NBA food, and they had steaks and salad and
Oh,
fruit.
did they?
And,
They were complaining about that?
Yeah, I'm just like, come on. You're living better than any, and it's getting delivered to you.
Yeah.
Like, you're living better than any of us are.
Right. Here's the thing. If I'm an NBA player, unless I'm like a low-level NBA player, they're like, I have to make my salary like to live, pretty much. Which, if you played the NBA last season, do you really need your salary to live? Like, how bad were you with your money? But if I'm LeBron, I'm not playing. I don't need to. I don't want to be away from my family in a bubble for X amount of days. I wouldn't do it. I would do it. I don't think it's worth it.
I mean, if that's what you love to do, you're gonna play.
Well, yeah, but
and LeBron, like he wants to add to his legacy. Like he wants to win another ring.
yeah, but what happens if you get 90 days into this, 60 days into this, and 40 people get it and they cancel the season anyways? Because that's probably what's gonna happen.
I don't know. At least you tried.
I don't think there's like, now that I'm looking at it, like typically I'd be like, yeah, I want to play, but now I'm looking at it, I'm like, I don't know if if I wasn't in a bubble, if I was like the NFL, because the NFL can't be in a bubble, it's not possible, I'd play. Yeah, I'd follow those guidelines where they're probably going to ask them not to go out to eat.
I mean, they're away from their families like weeks at a time anyway. And they're only playing like 8 games until the playoffs. So, like, during the playoffs, I'm sure they don't see their family a ton.
I mean, what, 2-3 days in a row, maybe?
Yeah.
At the most?
Yeah,
that's at the
but
most.
like...
Now, but you're going to go 3 months if you make it to the finals without seeing your family?
I mean,
Now, if you don't have a family, if you don't have kids or wife,
but,
yeah, that's different.
It's obviously going to be difficult, but I mean, if that's what you do all the time anyway, I don't think there's a huge...
Being away from them for 3 months is far different than being away from them for...
Yeah, but
3-4
you
days
can
at a time.
Zoom and stuff like that. It's just like a road trip. But yeah, it is a little bit longer, but I don't know. If that's your full-time job, that's what you love to do, I think I would do it.
I mean, I'm not knocking him for doing it. I personally wouldn't. And I don't...
Yeah, I would play.
I
And they're getting, like, they're in a nice hotel. They got pools. They're hanging out with, NBA players. You saw Tobias Harris and Bobby kind of meet up again. I thought that was cool. But yeah, I don't know why people are complaining about the food. Like, the food looked fine to me.
Here's some of it. I wouldn't be very happy about that.
I mean, it's just chicken and mashed potato. Like, it's not the worst food they've ever had.
I mean, I don't.
I mean,
disagree
most
with
of these
that,
guys have played AAU basketball their entire lives. I'm sure they've had a way worse food than that.
Again, we talk about making millions and millions of dollars. I don't know if I'd be happy about that meal.
And I saw
This
all
is the MLS meal.
I mean, that looks kind of gross. But they're getting like candy. They're getting beats. They're getting sound systems. I mean, they have plenty. They're doing just fine in the bubble.
I mean, yeah, it could be a lot worse, but
Yeah.
you're going from living however you wanted to live to staying in a hotel, except for going to, well, I guess they're practicing in the hotel because they're in the ballroom. So you're not leaving a building for months on end. Like that's not fun.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess they can go out because who was it fishing the other day? Was it Ben Simmons?
Yeah, Ben
I guess
Simmons
you can
and
go walk out
Josh
on the
Richardson.
dock and fish, but I mean,
Yeah.
like that's. And then I think they originally were supposed to open up a golf course exclusively to them and didn't do that. I don't think. Like they're supposed to open up one of the Disney ones. Yeah, I don't think it would be. I mean, it's gonna. Well, I mean, I guess if you lose if you don't, is it only the teams that are playoff eligible and they're seeding them? Is that how it is?
Yeah, so it's 22 teams, and then they play 8 games, and then they'll have the 8 on each side.
Okay, so I guess you're there for at the most a month.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would. I mean, a month wouldn't be terrible. It would just. Yeah, it would be. I don't know. It's so much different than just playing basketball. Like it's past just playing basketball now. That's why I'm like I don't mean. I don't blame anyone for play. Yeah, I mean, whatever, that's your decision. But I also don't blame anyone for. Originally, I was like, just play. Who cares? Like the guy that was like, we're risking our lives. I still don't think you're risking your life. But the guy that was like, I'm risking my life, the MLB player. No, you're not. But no, I could totally understand if you don't feel like you need to play this season.
Yeah, and that's why you have a choice.
I mean, there are guys that aren't like the lower contract guys, and there's gonna be guys that are invited to play because guys sit out or guys get test positive.
Yeah, look,
they probably have to go play because you need to make as much money as you can right now. But yeah, I couldn't. It would be a very tough decision if I had the money to play. Like if I was a top tier player, because I mean, first off, this season's gonna be looked at like an asterisk, anyways. Nothing you did. People are gonna go, oh, I mean, they only played the playoffs.
Well, no.
They
played like
MLB.
the majority of the games.
Yeah,
the
MLB is gonna be.
Yeah,
They just played the playoffs, but the NBA did play the majority, but there's gonna be an asterisk. Every NBA fan is gonna remember this season with an asterisk. There's no doubt in my mind.
Oh, yeah.
Every league is MLS, NBA, MLB, NHL. I don't know where the NHL is. I know they've been like real back and forth because I don't think they could find a place to play.
I know the NBA resumes July 30th and the MLB comes back July 23rd.
Well, the NBA too has I think 7 days of preseason games,
Okay.
and the MLB I think similar. I think they have a couple preseason games before they start.
So the MLB they're doing 60 games. I don't know about the preseason, but they do a doubleheader between the Yankees, Nationals, and then the Giants and Dodgers, and then the rest are back on the 24th.
Gotcha.
So they're kind of in like spring training right now, doing like inter squad and stuff like that. I mean, I'm like I said, I watched the UFC last night, so I'm down for any kind of. I'd rather watch UFC than golf and NASCAR, so I might get into UFC now.
Soccer's playing, and it's more exciting than UFC.
Not to me. Not to me.
Golf was exciting today too, but you had to watch it live on the computer.
I like the Peyton Manning Tom Brady thing. I enjoyed that. I don't know if they're doing anything like similar to that. It's just normal golf.
Not really, yeah. It's
Okay.
I mean, you can hear guys talking because there's no fans, but
Right.
that's about it.
Any questions?
I haven't gotten any.
I haven't gotten any either. If y'all have questions, go ahead and drop those in. We'll get to those, and I guess we'll start with our segments.
Yeah.
Most important of the week.
Most important. Let's see here. Alexander Johnson. He had a baby. This is a couple weeks ago.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he had a baby.
I don't know if we talked about the Patrick Mahomes contract.
Oh, we haven't. That is insane to me. It's also hilarious to hear like people who like know the NFL salary and know what like the actual worth is like, oh, he's like the Chiefs got a good deal. Like they pretty much signed him, pretty much saying like he took lesser money, thinking the salary cap could change next year and the future years because of the pandemic season, because it's all adjusted based on the earnings from previous years. That the Chiefs actually got a steal. Like he's worth far more money apparently. Like Bill Simmons was saying that. I can't remember who else it was.
That's wild because I mean the guy's making $1.60 per second.
Yeah, it's insane. What was the total?
So $503 million over 10 years.
Yeah.
So 50.3.
I think the kicker is a lot of that's guaranteed. I think that's a
Yeah. I don't have how much is actually guaranteed, but yeah, I mean you're getting into like high end contract with baseball money.
yeah.
You know, talking about guaranteed.
Yeah, I think the guaranteed's similar, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, then you look at like last year, the big ordeal was is Kyler Murray going to play baseball or play football, and everybody thought he was dumb for playing football. But then Patrick Mahomes gets this kind of deal, and
Yep.
you know it looks like he made a. I'd way rather throw to DeAndre Hopkins and Christian Kirk and Larry Fitzgerald than play for the Oakland A's.
Oh yeah. I wouldn't want to play for the Oakland A's. I feel like that's an easy decision.
Yeah. Wouldn't you like to be making $96 a minute?
That would suck. Feel bad for that guy.
Yeah. I think that's all I got for most important. I have a lot of fails.
Oh, the New England Revolution they played their first game. I think this was Thursday night. They had a drive-in watch party in their stadium in Gillette on the
that's
Jumbotron.
cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
They had what did they watch?
The game, because it's in Orlando,
okay.
so they had a drive-in to watch the
Oh,
game.
nice. That's cool.
Not New England Patriots. The MLS team.
You got any more most importance?
I don't think so.
Got some fails.
got some.
You want to go ahead and start with your boy?
Darren Ravel.
Yeah.
Dude, where's the tweet at? Do you have it?
Yeah, I
I've
got
got it. Many SEC fans wanted their states and their economy open and their right to not wear a mask. How's your football season looking, guys? Okay, first off, the annoying thing about this, and it's the annoying part about like most politics in America, and this is a political statement, whether he likes it or not. He made a political statement because the mask thing, the right not to wear a mask. That's your political part. There are stupid people stretched across the country everywhere, not just in SEC country. So chill out with that. Also, are we not going to mention California, Arizona, North Carolina, New York, Ohio, Michigan, all these places that the numbers are just as high as SEC country?
Oh yeah,
Quote,
New
unquote.
York has more than any like SEC state.
Also, all these people most of these people traveling from Florida are up north where nothing's open. You moron.
Yeah.
So pump
And
the brakes.
California, Arizona, North Carolina
Oh yeah,
aren't SEC states.
No.
Like, sorry,
I mean,
man.
it's just a really, really dumb tweet. And then, I mean, people are just, it's just incredibly dumb. And yeah, maybe some southern states have done a bad job limiting the spread. But it also wasn't about opening for football. If they wanted to open for football, they would have opened later, not earlier. So that's, again, a dumb tweet. Incredibly dumb.
Also, why is he
Incredibly
going after doesn't he like cover the draft and stuff? Like most SEC players are guys he covers.
I'm very unclear what he covers.
Yeah.
I don't think he knows what he covers.
Well, I think he used to be at ESPN, but I don't think he is anymore.
No, he writes for somebody else, but he does like business sports. He doesn't really like cover.
Oh, so
he
he's
doesn't
like
cover
a business analyst.
He doesn't cover sports. He covers the business of sports. Yeah. He doesn't technically cover sports. Have you seen him run his 40? I got a GIF right
Good
here.
Lord, he runs like if Mose had something shoved up his ass, like that's what Darren Ravel runs.
Mose is way faster than him.
I know, but like if he had something up his ass.
I mean, he's got a nice little ear to hip movement though. Most people's gait isn't that good. That's pretty impressive to be that slow and your gait decent.
He runs like a chafed mailman.
He does run like his knees don't move. Like his legs bend, but his knees stay at the same height. It's pretty impressive, honestly.
The man
Pretty impressive.
is a ACL brace.
I mean, it's like he almost walks his 40 because running. The definition of running is 1 foot on the ground at a time. but like his feet are pretty much on the ground at the same time the entire time. So
He's so ugly. Oh my gosh. My next fail is Did you see Woj get suspended?
yeah. Why would you respond to that? Why would you say that?
Yeah, why would you respond? Also, like,
Also, all the people mad at him. I'm like,
who cares?
yeah, who cares? That's his
like,
personal opinion.
That's my thing. It's kind of a fail to ESPN. Like, who
Yeah,
cares?
who cares? I would have said the same thing to that guy. Maybe not over email, but I wouldn't have let it trace that easy.
Yeah.
Who sent that?
But I'm
That
like,
names attached to it.
what's ESPN gonna do? Is Darren Ravel, was he just trying to get like people started so ESPN will see him and try to hire him and get rid of Woj?
Darren Ravel?
Yeah, maybe.
No,
Darren
he used
Ravel-
to work at ESPN. He didn't work there anymore.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Like, is he trying to get back on?
Oh, no,
Did he see this as an opportunity?
Probably not. They just laid a bunch of people off.
But yeah,
Now, what's his name? Scheffner might be trying to get in the NBA game now. He's been all NFL. Old Shefty.
I think he's a robot.
Darren Ravel?
No. Schefter.
You think Scheffner's a robot?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. He's just like this. Actually, no. Mel Kiper's probably a robot.
I mean, yeah, he's a nerd. That dude's a nerd. Darren Ravel's a geek. Mel Kiper's a nerd.
My next one is Kenny the Jet.
What'd he do?
He listed his top 10 NBA players of all time and said LeBron is in my top 10, but he's number 10. Kobe is not in my top 10.
What? You left off the top 3 guys, pretty much? That's the dumbest take I've ever heard.
I'm like, wow.
So who is his number 10? Do you have it?
Shaq was in there. It was like,
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar?
yeah, Kareem.
Pete Maravich in there?
No.
Damn. That
Larry
would've been awesome.
Bird was up there.
Shit.
Yeah, it was a lot of just like,
I mean, Larry Bird's a Hall of Famer, but let's be clear about who Larry Bird is.
right, yeah, he's not better than LeBron James. There's no way.
Or Kobe Bryant.
No.
I've got Brooks Koepka as going into golf. He's just like throwing out criticism. He's like battled every golf analyst there is, criticizing him back and forth. And then he tweeted about Bryson DeChambeau possibly being on steroids and getting in a physical altercation with the cameraman.
Nice.
And then missed the cut this week. So, yeah. Bad look.
sucks.
Bad look, Brooks.
My next one, do you remember Quentin Dunbar and DeAndre Baker, how they robbed people?
Yeah.
So they actually paid their alleged robbery victims $55K to say the crime never happened.
Nice. I'd take that.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a victim, you probably like, they get arrested, this comes out that they paid you, you probably get to keep the money because no one really cares.
Did you get, how much did, like, what did they robbed him for, like, what, $100 probably, something like that? And a cell phone? I'd take the 50 grand, easy.
Yeah, I don't know what they actually did it for, but now, like, they obviously went and told that they paid them this money, or maybe it's more money and they just said $55K.
So they only had to get back the 55K?
Right.
Nice. Smart.
Yeah.
Smart.
So, like, this never is the case, but I feel like if you're going to steal from people, you have to be smarter than the people you're stealing from.
Yeah, I mean,
To be a good thief.
you probably shouldn't be, like,
Or just
well,
not steal. It is number one, but if you are
probably pretty
going to.
dumb. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you probably shouldn't be smarter than the police, which usually isn't difficult. But, yeah, I think they robbed him in a cookout parking lot, if I remember
Oh, good for
correctly.
them.
I think.
Get that cookout tray money.
I think that's what they did. Oh, yeah, I don't really blame them for that. I get it. My last one is Ugly Anna on Twitter and all the horny NBA players. She tweeted, I already got invited to the bubble. Yeah, the season definitely ended early. Yeah, see, some horny NBA player is going to ruin this for LeBron. He's going to spend 2.5 months away from his kids, and then some dude's going to get COVID from an Orlando girl that was just out on the beach all week in South Florida. Yeah, no, she's definitely...
It was 100% J.R. Smith that invited her.
Yeah, see, and he's hanging out with J.R. Smith every day. It's going to end the NBA season because some horny NBA players can't keep it in their pants.
Oh my gosh.
I'm telling you, that season's in. If any season's ending early, it's NBA season. You know those dudes are gonna go out one night.
Yeah, I think that's the hardest part is like not having women.
Every basketball movie I've ever seen, they sneak out of the hotel to go to a party. Yeah, I'm sorry, it's ending early.
Yeah, one person you would never see at one of these things and keep them there is Dennis Rodman.
Oh no,
He's gone in the middle of the night.
I mean he definitely wouldn't agree to be.
No,
he'd be like, yeah, unless it was in Vegas, maybe.
Right.
Maybe.
Yeah, you got to have a casino somewhere.
Yeah, he's like, as long as I can gamble, I guess I'll stay.
Right. My next fail is the NFL. NFL teams will be forbidden from post-game interactions within 6 feet of each other, and jersey exchanges between players will be prohibited during the 2020 season.
Again, it's a conference thing again. The false security.
Like, that's what we're worried. Forget the season. We're going to put that on hold right now to make a decision. But there will be no. Don't you dare exchange jerseys. Like, who cares? Like, that's obvious. Thank you.
Right. Yeah, it's very dumb.
Oh my god.
Very dumb. Yeah, I mean, again, addressing the wrong issue. They just touched each other for 4 hours.
Right. Yeah. So don't you dare. You can hit them. You can sack them. You can take a hand off. But don't you dare exchange jerseys.
People making decisions are just. Oh, dumb.
I love it.
It's depressing. You got any more?
That's all I got.
Guys, I want to thank you all for joining us again. It's been fun. We'll be back on Wednesday. Make sure you check out our content. You can find it on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram all week long. Make sure you're following Volunteer Roadshow as well and catching all of our other shows on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. You can find Volunteer Roadshow there as well. You can find me on Twitter at Caleb_TN and Landon at Lambo_Raby10. And then on Facebook with our names there. Follow along, guys. We look forward to seeing you on Wednesday, doing our South Carolina preview, as well as several. We'll be talking about everything that's relevant as well. Again, appreciate it.
I need some football.
I need football bad. Yep. Which is funny. It's like, I guess I'm just missing it more because I know the possibility of us not having it. Because it's not like we'll be playing football right now.
Right. And if you say no football until 2021, I mean, dude,
that's gonna suck.
I don't know how long I can last.
Now, Australian football's playing right now. It's not the same kind of football, but apparently it's exciting. Apparently it's hard hitting.
It's on TV.
I think, yeah. Probably online. I don't know. I've never watched it. I don't know. And apparently it's very confusing because it's played on a round field.
Oh god.
Yeah, and then there's like 3 uprights.
So is this just like?
I think it's a combination of rugby, soccer, and American football. Australian. It's an Australian sport. Just the most confusing and
unnecessary.
Yeah.
Chaos.
Right.
Guys, thanks for listening. That's all we got. We're bringing the boat in, and we out.